At the beginning of the film, we see a door suddenly opening, and a man runs inside. He then tries to open the elevator. After a long struggle, the elevator finally opens, and as soon as he enters, someone pulls him up inside the elevator, and the door's shut. Next, we see a group of kids sitting together. One of them tries to scare the others by mentioning a shadow approaching them. Another child responds, saying that it could be the Demogorgon. One of the kids then insists that they should stop playing the game because they have school the next day, and it's already quite late. Michael asks his mom to let him play for 2 more hours. Mike says they've been playing the game for the past 10 hours. However, Mike's mom and dad scold him, telling him to stop playing and go to bed. With that, they all turn off the game. Just then, Mike's friend takes a slice of pizza to his sister, Nancy, who is talking on the phone. But Nancy shuts the door in his face, making Mike's friend angry. He sarcastically says, "Mike, there's something wrong with your sister. She's acting really weird." One of Mike's friends, Bill, stays behind after the others leave and tells Mike that in their game, he rolled the dice and got killed by the Demogorgon. After saying this, Bill takes his bike and leaves. Meanwhile, we see another friend of Mike's saying goodnight to the others before heading home. Dustin, one of Mike's friends, tells another that if he wins, he'll give him any comic book he wants. Excitedly, the friend rushes off on his bike and tells Dustin to keep an X-Men comic ready for him. On the other side, Will is seen riding his bike when he suddenly encounters a shadowy figure in the darkness. He gets scared, loses balance, and falls off his bike. Panicked, he leaves his bike behind and runs home, locking the door behind him. He calls out for his mom, but doesn't see her anywhere. Looking out the window, he notices that the shadowy figure is following him. Will quickly picks up the phone to call someone, but the phone doesn't work. Suddenly, the door latch starts unlocking on its own, terrifying him. His dog senses something too and starts barking. Will runs into a room, loads a gun, and prepares himself. Just then, the lights begin flickering intensely. The story then shifts to a news broadcast where an anchor named Donna reports that the city is experiencing electricity problems. She mentions that several areas lost power last night, and many places had flickering lights. Some people even had to spend the night without electricity. Next, we see Hopper, the chief of police, waking up and smoking a cigarette. Will's mom calls him, asking if Will is at his house, but Mike's mom informs her that Will left their house last night. In the morning, Mike reaches school with his friends and realizes that Will is still missing. Meanwhile, James and his friend make fun of Mike, Dustin, and Lucas. Nancy arrives at school and asks her friend if she received a call from someone, but she refuses to discuss it in front of others. When Nancy opens her locker, she finds a note from Steve, asking her to meet him. Nancy initially refuses because of a chemistry test, but later agrees to meet him in the evening to study together. At the police station, Chief Hopper arrives and everyone greets him. A little later, Will's mom arrives and informs Hopper that Will has been missing since last night. Initially, Hopper doesn't take it seriously, but after some convincing, he assures her that he will find Will. Meanwhile, Dr. Brenner gathers a group of people and sends them to investigate the East Wing, where a man had mysteriously disappeared in an elevator. Elsewhere, a young girl sneaks into a cafeteria in search of food. She steals some food and runs away, but the cafeteria worker catches her. The entire classroom is suddenly empty. The teacher keeps talking, but no one listens. After everyone leaves, Mike and his friends ask the teacher if he brought it. The teacher replies, "Yes, I brought it." Excited, they rush into his office, put on headsets, and start communicating with different places like New York, California, and Australia. Meanwhile, Hopper arrives and questions Mike, Lucas, and Dustin about Will's whereabouts. They reveal that Will usually takes the Mirkwood route home. After the questioning, Hopper instructs them to go straight home and not to search for Will on their own. Later, Will's mom searches for him near the woods, recalling past memories. At the same time, a diner owner named Benny offers food to the mysterious girl from earlier. Despite his repeated questions, she remains silent. Frustrated, he takes the food away and says she'll only get it if she answers him. After some hesitation, he gives her the food back. He then calls a child services helpline, asking them to send someone for her. However, the girl seems anything but ordinary. She stops a ceiling fan just by looking at it. Meanwhile, Hopper finds Will's bike in the forest. He starts calling out for Will, but there's no response. He picks up the bike and takes it to Will's house. Upon entering, he notices that Will's pet dog is barking intensely. At the same time, Benny, the diner owner, is confronted by a woman posing as a social worker. She shoots him, leaving the girl horrified. The girl runs away. Back in the forest, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin reach the spot where Will disappeared and try to find him. Meanwhile, Steve sneaks into Nancy's room through the window. The story then shifts back to Will's mother and brother, who are looking at his pictures and crying. His brother regrets not being home when Will went missing. Meanwhile, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas reach the forest just as it starts raining heavily. Suddenly, Mike's flashlight slips from his hand. As he searches for it, they encounter the same girl who escaped from the diner. To find out what happens next, stay tuned. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share the video, and hit the bell icon. Thank you.